Taylor Swift is a link builder. There were rumors that she would get engaged. Our client said, let's give them a free wedding venue. And then we got them 50 links. That's digital PR.
Managing multiple clients or large websites? Automate your SEO with Ali AI. Start your free trial now.
Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
Oh, thank you so much for dropping your beers and joining us in this room today. Cool. So, as Tasmin said, my name is Miracle Inameti-Archibong. I've been in digital marketing for about 15 years, 10 years agency side. I'm now head of set at John Lewis Finance. I love to study. I'm so fascinated by human beings. I think there's this myth that, we bring one person to work and then the other side of us stays at home. But my belief is that we are who we are, whether we're at work or home, and we see the behaviors that we have, our childhood traumas, everything, we bring that into work. And that really affects the perception we have of people and the perception of people's behavior. I have a level 4 counseling qualification, and I'm currently studying for a strategic leadership course. So these are all the things that interest me and made me go on this management journey and start giving talks like this. So let's start. What is it about transitioning? Now, 60% of new managers fail within the first 24 months. And why is that? I think the key thing is that we see this time and time again, isn't it? I also fell into this trap. I used to be technical SEO. And I used to write scripts. I used to write scripts for GTM. I used to build great forecast sheets and do all of these lovely things. And then someone says, wow, you're doing so well. You deserve a promotion. You're going to become a manager. And without any experience, without any directive, it's just like, there you go. This is your new team. These are a group of people. Deal with it. And a lot of people fall into this category where you get there and then you're like, wow, okay. These are a lot of people, these are a lot of emotions, but I'm really good at doing all the technical stuff. So I'll just focus on that and do that and hope everyone recognizes that I'm doing a good job. And the biggest pitfalls that people fall into is they're not, looking at the harder parts of the job and what the new responsibility is. Okay. And I think the key to this is actually making a conscious decision, not just to carry on being you, but to sit down and understand the key differences between those roles and what will make you succeed as a manager. And I think the question I've had to ask myself time and time again, especially when I get into new teams, is what is my value proposition in this role? What am I supposed to be doing here? And the key words for me is strategy, alignment between stakeholders, and empowering my team. And I look at what are the gaps in the team and how can I build this and how can I focus on it? The key thing here is don't ignore the more difficult parts of your role. It's so easy, especially being a manager and being the leader. I'm just going to do the things that I'm comfortable with, the things I'm good at, the things that I enjoy. And that is the key to failing in your new role as a manager. Lean into your weaknesses. I think for me, this was difficult stakeholders. I'm I did networking with stakeholders and building relationships out of meetings. Because I'm a natural introvert. You can't tell because I'm standing here in front of all the spotlights, but that was my key weaknesses. And I had to learn how to build relationships out of meetings and get buy-in before I get into meetings. I would always say to people who join a team, I said, what is your 30-day plan? What your 90-day plan? Because early wins create trust and it builds momentum. I have seen so many people struggle to walk back from the impression that they created in the first 90 days. And people they have that perception. Perception and they just struggle to get other people to think about them differently because they fail to get that momentum and trust in the first 90 days. So if you are struggling, I would say consider mentorship. We're so hardwired to see things in the way we've experienced them before, and this is called transference. And so it's good to get a mentor because a mentor will help you have an objective view of the things that happen in your organization. And I would always say, focus on getting a mentor outside your department and preferably outside of your organization because you want to avoid people who collude with you. I think my friend sent me this clip from Instagram and we were just laughing. It was about like a girl who hadn't been to work and then she met up with her friends and they were like, what have you achieved today? And she was like, I got out of bed. And they were like, yes, Queen, yes, you've done the most. And those are the situations you want to avoid. You want to get to, if it's someone that has given you really brutal feedback in the past, that's the person you want to mentor you, because that person will be really honest to you and shine a light on your shortcomings so that you can grow. Okay. The next thing you need to do to succeed in your role is to understand the culture and of that organization. For me, I think I read a lot of management books that say that you need to identify your detractors, your persuaders and all of that kind of stuff. But this was a perception that kind of changed my mind into having a growth mindset. It's like thinking about the roles, the people that you're regularly interacting with. And then rather than seeing people as distractors, see them as developmental roles. These will usually in the SEO team, this will be like your developers, your product team, people that are always challenging you. Rather than seeing them as detractors, think about, okay, I need to build this relationship. I need to develop it. How can I change that? The power roles will always be the people who own the budget. And then the information roles are usually like UX, UI, customer service, people who know a lot about the customers. And you should always take these people as a feedback loop to understand where you're doing well. And I think that change in mindset, rather than seeing people as detractors, will really help you build a good culture around your team. I really recommend this book. It helps me a lot, and it helped me plan out like the first 90 days, what I want to achieve, the momentums, the win I want to get when I start being a new manager. And then my favorite bit is building high performance teams. I have my team here, so you could don't ask them. I'm not going to point out where they are in the room, so that so you can't ask them whether what I'm saying is what I do or not. So just gonna, yeah. So I think I found this stat really, really shocking, but I understand how this happens, isn't it? We spend most of our adult lives at work, so it's really, really. It makes sense that a lot of the conversations we'll have will be about what happened at work, and all of the mental stress we carry will be largely around work and stuff like that. So 70% of people feel that, work has more impact on their mental stress than even their therapist. And we've all heard about this. People join companies, they quit their managers. And so before you become a people manager, the key thing to ask is, am I comfortable handling complex emotions? Because 90% of getting the best out of people and getting the best out of your team is navigating all of these difficult loops, giving feedback, understanding why this person is not working in this way. How can I get the best out of this person? How can I communicate in a way that will resonate with the person? We've all seen this, isn't it? Someone asks me, a bad managers, bad people. And I said, not necessarily. We've seen accidental managers, people who have been good, being technical people, and then get promoted. And all of a sudden, they're struggling to deal with people because that's not what they like or that's not their specialty. I have seen a lot of SEO agencies, some SEO agencies now create like a head of SEO role, which is like a strategic role, and then a head of operations, which is then the people manager and the head of delivery. And I'm like, that really works well. We need to normalize not pushing people into people management when they don't have the skill set for it. As I said, technical expertise is definitely not a guarantee that you're going to be a good people manager. Google did a research some time ago because they were only employing STEM graduates, MIT graduates. So they did a research on all the employees and they were like, what were the skills that made your people manager a really good people manager? And surprise, surprise, nobody said STEM skills. Everybody was talking about coaching and mentoring. I think it's really, really dangerous. And I see a lot of organizations do this where they just reward people for being good and they ignore all of the other soft skills behavior that they don't have that wouldn't make them good people managers. Okay. What does a good people manager do? I think 3 things. You understand your team and that helps you get the best thing out of them. You equip your team to deliver their best work and you coach them to produce that work really well. Okay, and there is a clear difference between coaching and mentoring. With coaching, you're empowering people, you're getting them to take ownership of that process so you can step back. And with mentoring, you're delivering specific skill sets. And then you say, okay, who needs what? More junior members of your team will probably need mentoring, and that you can delegate to other junior members in your team. And then more senior members of your team will need coaching, because this is how they become leaders by themselves. They have to have autonomy. They have to understand that they have agency and they can make decisions. And that also builds confidence. Regular one-to-ones. The amount of people that I kind of speak to who have had they've fallen out with their manager, they're having issues at work, because I do one-to-one mentoring for new managers. And then they're like, well, we haven't had a one-to-one in a month. And I'm like, what? I always say to people that even if you don't have like a task list to go through, prioritize having one-to-ones with people, because it helps you to build connection. You know, when I speak to my team, I always say to them, oh, what did you do today? And someone says, oh, I played football. And so the next time when I see them, I have something to, I was like, oh, how was the game? And then when is their birthday? I'm like, oh, we need to get someone a football kit because they like football. And that's how you build camaraderie in your team, because people spend so much time at work. If you want to build a team that's loyal and people feel like family and they can trust you, this is one of the things to do. Psychological safety. This is so key in building high-performing teams, because if people don't feel safe, they will not give you feedback. And I think it's really important that people in your team feel safe to voice their opinion and they feel safe to criticize what you're doing. I always say to my team, one person's opinion cannot build a team. I need you to tell me where I'm doing wrong, and I need to be able to tell you, and so that we can build a strong team. And so you need to create a space where people feel they will not be embarrassed. They can say what they want. They can share their problems, and people can speak up. And that way you can build a strong team. And then how to create psychological safety. Active listening. I love this definition by Susan Howard, which is holding in check your need for self-expression. On my counseling course, we did several exercises where someone was supposed to come in and sit down and then talk to you about their problems for 1 hour, and you're not supposed to say anything. And you're just supposed to focus on listening and understanding what that person is saying. And you're supposed to have like a clear headspace. And it was so difficult because everyone's like, oh God, I'm thinking about, like, you're like, oh, I relate to that. I want to say this. Oh, I have a good story. And the teacher's like, where was your mind? What were you thinking about? It's so hard to listen to people. And so this is something that we need to actively practice regularly. My personal tip is I always put myself on mute. When I get on a call, I say, and I put myself on mute. So before I unmute myself, I have to think, do I really need to say something, or do I just keep quiet? And this is a great exercise that I've done, which is kind of split out like all of the behaviors that we do when we're listening to people, and saying, okay, which of these behaviors are good behaviors or green behaviors? Which ones should we do more of, and which should I do less of? Leaders who don't listen will soon find a team that says nothing. I think about like loads of big companies that were going through transitions and, you know, didn't prioritize the right decisions. I think about how the people in the room felt, like when blockbusters, when people were saying, oh, people will soon start, you know, streaming things on TV and people will not rent DVDs. Like, what was the demographic in the room? Who were the people in the room? Did anyone feel like, yeah, why didn't they reach the right decision? Did the young people in the team not just feel strong enough to raise their voice and put their opinions forward? Delegating. This is another thing I see loads of people managers struggle with. Delegation is so important because you can't do everything. You know, to build and create an efficient team, you have to be able to delegate. To grow your content, and you need to be able to scale. There is research to say that managers who spend a lot of time doing non-managerial work will create a team that fails because they're not leading the team well. And why do people fail to delegate then? It's because it's that, you know, that inability to move from doing the things that you really enjoy, that made you shine, that people recognized you for, to then managing the team and then sharing the glory. It's also, I see a lot of people who struggle with having difficult conversation, isn't it? They're like, oh, now I have to sit down and then correct this person and then tell them what they're doing wrong. And then people struggle to give that feedback loop. And sometimes people just don't understand that there is value in mentoring and building your team to be self-sufficient. They feel that the value is in creating a big spreadsheet, having a PowerPoint to say, okay, this is what I've done with my time. And they feel like if I don't have that to say I've done that with my time, managing and building your team isn't tangible enough. How to delegate effectively? I think setting clear expectation, providing that guidance and feedback, and making sure that the person that you are giving that task to is fully equipped to do that task. If not, you're setting up that person for failure. there is a key difference between saying, hey, I'm assigning you a task and I'm giving you a template and I want you to do it exactly how I want you to do it. And that doesn't give your team room to grow or say, okay, this is the thing. Let me know how you are going to approach this. And that brings new ideas into the team. It gives new ways of doing things. People can't be more efficient and people feel that they have the autonomy to come up with new ideas. This is a research that was done at Harvard and found that loads of managers feel so stressed and they don't have enough time to do the things that they need to do, while members of their team feel like they don't have enough work because monkey business, isn't it? I delegate something to you. I see you're struggling. I feel I'm being helpful, so I take it back. And then the manager now has 20 tasks and the people in the team are waiting for the manager to be able to review and come back to it, and the manager's running around feeling very stressed. Whereas you can be like, well, have you looked this up? I trust you to go and find a solution. So as a manager, you need to avoid monkey business because you're rewarding bad behavior. You're realigning the roles. Now your team is chasing you for deadlines rather than you chasing them, and you're stifling their development because they don't learn how to be problem solvers. Where should I spend my time? Again, we talked about this: strategic direction, high impact tasks, things that are essential for your development, which is stakeholder management, building all the critical relationships that can make your team's work get implemented, and tasks that are unique to your strength. But that's a dangerous place to be, I say. You should be making sure that you are upskilling your team and so that you're not the only one who can do something in the team. Now, understanding your team is so important for building strong teams. Okay, and for that you need emotional intelligence and self-awareness. I'm not a massive fan of personality tests, but I would say that they're a good place to start to understand your kind of behavior, how you take feedback, how your team takes feedback. It's something I love to do with my team because it just gets people talking about the way they see themselves and how they like to be spoken to, and that awareness helps the team communicate better. This is another place I see people struggle because people will say, oh, we don't all have the same values. And that's always wrong because your expression of that value might be very different from somebody's own. And so it's good to really sit down and identify the values. A simple exercise on what are your values and what do they translate to? And you really see that, we all like the same thing. Our way of getting there are different. We have more things in common, and that can help you bond with your team. This is a cultural iceberg model, and this is why bonding with your team and understanding people is really important, because the more diversity you have in your team and and I'm not just talking about diversity of race, I'm talking about behaviors. People like different things, people behave, and there's so many things that you can't see. And if you're not interacting with your team and you're not connecting your team, you don't uncover all of these nuances that people have, and that's what leads to conflict. I think we've all seen this research from Cleverpop that talks about how diverse teams make great decisions. I think you can see that inclusive teams as well make better decisions. They surveyed at least 800 teams and different decision making, and they found out that the more diverse your team is, more inclusive your team is. I mean, it's not rocket science, isn't it? There are several things I was talking about. There was an ad campaign that came out, and I was just thinking, wow, who are the people in the room? And who if they just had one person of color in this room, this thing would never have gone up. But that's where diversity and all of these inclusivity come in. And then being authentic. I share my struggles with my team because I want them to be able to come to me when they're struggling. We've all seen the disastrous interview that Ricky Sunak had, where he was asked about, what did he struggle with in childhood? And he said, I didn't have Sky TV. And it's like, why? Why would you even just own it? Yes, I'm from a privileged background. I came from immigrant parents. Doesn't mean I can't identify. When you're not authentic as a leader, people see it, and it makes people not vulnerable. Okay, and I think that is the thing that I see a lot of leaders where the team can open up to them because they struggle to be vulnerable and they want to present themselves as the all-knowing, all-seeing kind of person. And so their team then struggle to come to them when they have issues and things just stall and nothing gets done. Okay, I would say celebrate skill difference. What I do when I'm setting my objectives for my team is that I say, okay, this is what I need to achieve. You all go on with your skills. I don't say, because this person is an SEO manager for this product. I say, no, what are your skills? You like doing tech, you're very good at data, you're very good at this. based on my objectives, build out your objectives based on that, and then we can work on how we're going to achieve them. And I'm running out of time. Performance management. I think it should never come as a surprise to anyone that they have not been performing well. And this is because loads of managers struggle to give feedback timely. And this is one of the dangerous aspects of promoting someone who doesn't have the right soft skills to be a manager, because they will avoid these conversations they would not have, and people won't give people a chance to develop properly because they're not giving them the right feedback. Constructive feedback should always be given privately so that you can develop psychological safety in your team. If you're telling people off, they will be shamed and they would not come back to you when they have an issue. Okay? The best way for me to measure the success of a leader is to look at the people in my team. I am really proud of my team, and they know it, because no one can, if you look at them, they're progressing. People can say, for me, that's a good reflection of me. I don't get the feedback people give me because leaders forget that. You take that feedback and be like, what have you done? Look at everyone in my team. They're doing well. They're meeting their development milestone. They're doing this, they're doing that. And that is your success. If you think your success is not in the big report you built, your success is the fact that you've been able to get the most efficient use of the people in your team. And I say this, I set really impossible standards for myself. But one of the things I keep telling myself is that I shouldn't let my perfectionism attitude affect my team. Praise progress. Yes, the goal might not have been completed, but the best way to get people to grow is to continue to praise progress. Thank you.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.